Mr. UFC Vegas Fight Club TV. I am Kyle, your host. Welcome to the podcast and welcome to the Bet Review Show. We're going to go over UFC 224, Pennington versus Nunes. We're going to go over the two plays that we had as well as some of the interesting events that took place last night in Brazil. So the first thing what we're going to do is we're going to go over the best bet play, and the best bet play was Jacare. This fight was agonizing to watch, to be honest with you guys. So obviously, you know, we have Jacare as our best bet play, and obviously we want him to get in close. We talked about in the prediction show. We said he, really believe he's going to get in close, work the cage, push him up against the cage, and work body movement to get Gaston to the ground. And first round worked out exactly how we thought it would work out. That, in close, Gaston's trying to throw the heavy shots. Jacare is doing, he's blocking some of them, some are slipping through, but he was able to push forward and get a lot of pressure on Gaston. And that was instantly when they're working on the clinch. I thought this is where it's going to be. This is home for Gaston. For Jacare, right and tight. Just trying to drag his body to the ground and get him down as much as he possibly could. And I think he did a great job in that first round. He had mount position. He really was able to get on top, cause some damage to Gaston. And then at the end of that first round, where, they kind of were rolling around and Jacare looked like he was trying to, get the arm bar and squeak out Gaston's arm. Looked like he was going to do it. Then he kind of waited until the very end of that round and then tried to push forward with it. I was very excited in the end of that first round, thought it was going exactly the way that we thought and that I really believed it would go. And then Jacare gets up from the ground and he looks like he's been through 5 rounds already. And that was when my excitement went completely the other way. And looking at him, I could not believe that I don't know if it was, I don't know what it was. He literally just dumped all of his energy in that first round. And I didn't think it was that much. Easy for me to say, obviously, sitting here, but I didn't think it was that much that he did in the cage to cause him to be so tired. I just didn't really think that it was that much exerting of energy that would make him that tired. So when he got up and he was almost stumbling to the corner, that I just was very confused that he was that gassed, and Gaston looked fine. And then in that second round, Gaston took over, knocked down Jacare, almost put him away. And honestly, he was the one thing I have to say, regardless of this, is Jacare, I don't know how the hell he did it, but he was basically knocked out standing in that second round. Gaston pretty much had put him away, but Jacare was still moving forward. He barely even knew where he was, it seemed like. And still, Gaston was taking big shots back, but he was able to just land bombs on Jacare. And the end of that round, if that fight was anywhere besides Brazil, that fight was probably going to be stopped in the second round. The fact that Jacare wasn't even sure where he was stumbling back. They had to help him back. He did get his head back. It looked like he was starting to focus a little bit more going into that third round once he kind of got the cobwebs out. But I thought that they're going to probably call this fight. That was really, Gaston had a dominating second round. And going into that third, I basically said, hey, this is a 1-1. If it's slightly close, if it's a close third round in Brazil, we're getting this decision. That was the way I looked at this. They said it was a very close fight. Easy to say that Jacare won the first, Gaston won the second. Going into the third, it was a 1-1 for me, and I think for most people. And I thought he did enough in that third. I thought he was able to kind of, again, have control, able to land big shots. The only thing that kept looking so terrible was the fact that he looked exhausted. And I think it was Woodley who had said it on the post show, that basically he goes, sometimes when you look that bad and you just look like you don't have it, but yet even though he was still fighting. He was still pushing forward. He was still able to even, sweep a couple times Gaston to the ground, able to push him to the ground. But he just looked exhausted. And I thought he did enough in that third round to get the victory. I really thought he did. And I was really figuring that those last few times that he was able to throw Gaston to the ground, get him, Gaston popped back up. He didn't really control him on the ground much. But at least he was doing enough. I really thought he did enough. Did not happen, and even when it went to the decision, I thought to myself, if I need to hear this being a sweep 29-28, otherwise I don't think this is a good thing. And as soon as they talked, it was going to be a split decision. Gaston gets the victory. I have to give him a ton of credit. Like I said, I just really give him a lot of credit. The fact that he fought Jacare in Brazil, held his own, not only held his own, but got the victory. I got to give him credit. It was our best bet play, and it was one that I really believe that he won. But it doesn't matter what I think, it matters what the judges think. So we ended up losing that. We are now 17-7 plus 13.3 units on our best bet for the year. Still not doing too bad, but very upset the fact that I thought we had handicapped that fight correctly, or I handicapped that fight correctly, and the fact that Jacare would get the victory and work those takedowns and really finish the fight in nice fashion. That first round, he was this close. We were one judge away from a 2-0 night. What can we say? So the next fight I want to talk about is our one unit play, the one that we did win, and that is Machida versus Vitor Belfort. This fight to me was, it was a tougher fight because of the fact that they're both older and of their career. But the big thing for me here was the fact that Belfort is just in retirement mode. He is just not really looking real at the point of, excelling his career. He has lost, I think it was 5 of his last 6. I mean, he's really on the big downturn, and it just overall, even through the press conferences, just didn't seem he was himself. Kind of was going through the motions because it was in Brazil and wanted to be a part of it. That first round was awkward, to say the least. The fact that, there was maybe 2.5 minutes into that first round, I don't even know if there was a punch. And then they ended up starting to trade a little bit. I guess I would give it to Machida in that first round, just because the fact that Machida threw maybe 7 kicks, and I don't know what really Belfort did. There really was not many exchanges. But going into that second round, Machida lands an outstanding front kick right on Belfort's chin, puts him out. And it was that was like almost like bringing Machida back to his heydays, the way that he was able to do that knockout. Really impressive knockout, but again against Belfort, who is just a bag of bones at this point. He's really had it. A lot of credit to him as well too. He is a legend in the UFC. Probably a Hall of Famer. They were even showing on the post-fight show some of his old fights. Guy was a warrior. Guy's an animal. Give him a ton of credit in the fact that what he's done in his career, been a champion. There's really nothing more else for him to do. So farewell to the big guy, and again, a lot of respect to him. Machida gets the victory though for us. We do have the one unit on that. We get the victory there. Not too shabby. The fact that we at least got something there. Lost our best bet. Did not end up cashing in on the night. But we will go over the other few plays that were other fights, I should say, that happened on the card. The one I want to talk about was Mackenzie Dern versus Amanda Cooper. This was just all week. This was one of the biggest talks of the entire week. Was her weight, things were going on with Dern, and just her camp and all these other things that were going on. And Cooper really pushing for this fight, wanted to have it anyway, which her at being, I think she was 4-3 or 3-3. She's not going to turn down a fight like this, chance to fight on a pay-per-view card. I don't believe that Dern did this on purpose. I don't think she purposely, was 7 or 8 pounds above. It is a little bit, it's a little bit concerning, the fact that she was that far off, but nonetheless, she ended up going into that first round, and again, this was a fight that I did not have a bet in this fight, but this was a fight that you look at and you say, hey, Dern is definitely going to want to take this to the ground instantly, and Cooper probably has the edge with her boxing background, has the edge in the stand-up, and Dern ends up landing an overhand right that just drops, that I think basically knocked her out, but drops Cooper, and she ends up getting the rear naked choke in the first round. Impressive win. I gotta say, maybe I should apologize to Dern for the way that I just was not really feeling at all the fact that what she's really doing. Is she taking UFC seriously? Is she, have other avenues where she can make money? She gets the win and an impressive victory in the first round. I'm very interested to see who her next fight's going to be, and are they going to look to the next level? And we had said this after her last fight prior to this one, that would they look to kind of have someone of the next level caliber up in skill set, will she fight? I don't know if they're going to do that yet. She got 2 wins now and under the lights, so they may look to do that. We'll kind of find out and see what goes on there. I don't know what's going to happen there again. Would she win? Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys on the Dern train, or are you guys, jumping off? So, let me know what you guys think on that. But the other one was the main event, Amanda Nunes versus Raquel Pennington. And this fight kind of went, I think, which many of us thought, you didn't really have to handicap this fight. Nunes just overall much better, and she looked it. I mean, she was basically clean at the end of that fight, and Pennington took a beating. And it was almost at the point, there were spots there where I felt like Nunes didn't even want to cause or inflict any more damage. She kind of laid up a little bit. She didn't really pressure in certain spots where I think if it was a Cyborg or somebody else, I think she would have really pressured a lot more. She kind of, took her foot off the gas, which is understandable. I know they're friends and all these other things. But the one thing that did bother me, which I'm seeing it now everywhere posted around, was the fact that her, Pennington's coach is, she's basically saying, I'm done at the end of that 4th round. I have nothing left. I don't want to go out there. I think was even her words. I'm done. I don't want to go out there. And and I get it. Her coach needs to talk her into it. Her coach needs to say, get out there, fight. But when the fighter is saying, I'm done, that's it. Like that is just, the mental state of a fighter is just, that's it. You've got to throw in the towel. Very upsetting then to go back in and to see the fact that Pennington goes in there and she gets even worse, takes a huge knee to the face, looks like it shattered her nose, possibly her eye socket. I mean, it was just, she was a mess, and it all came down in that 5th round is where Nunes, dropped the hammer and kind of looked to put the fight away. And the coaches are going to take a lot of heat. It's going to be something that's going to be interesting to see what kind of comes out, what people are talking about, and was it the right thing to do by, hey, back up your fight or get them back in there? This is a huge moment. It's a championship fight. It's the biggest fight of her career. Or you got to say, listen, take no more damage. At this point, you're not going to win. You lost the first 4 rounds. You're not going to knock Nunes out in the shape that you're in. Could anything happen? Yes, of course, anything can happen. But the way things are going, statistically, you're not going to win this fight in the 5th round. She was done. So we'll see what happens there. But I do give credit to Nunes being a class act at the end of it, and really, bringing in, Pennington, Tisha Torres, they're friends, and it shows what the sport is really about. At the end of the day, it's a sport. Not everybody has to hate everybody. They kind of get along at a point too. And, and she said some great things. So I give Nunes as a champion a lot of respect there. Really hope Nunes now is going to go out there and going to be fighting Cyborg. That is a fight that just would be phenomenal if that could happen. And that's one that I think is the next step. Looking to who's left in these divisions, that looks like the next step to me, that they need to set that fight up. That's a fight that should be happening, and we'll kind of see what happens there. And I think the wheels will be turning on that. You'll start to hear more and more people pushing for that fight. And the other fight I wanted to bring up too was Diaby Ramos. Now, you guys were calling on that, Downhill as well as VCR Repairman. You guys were nailing some picks last night in the Let's Chat. Wanted to give you guys a shout out because you guys were nailing some big time picks out there. As we're going on, throwing some picks out, Downhill nailed some big picks, and that's the beauty of this channel, and that's exactly why I want this channel to grow, and I want to continue being interactive and continuing to grow the Fight Club community, because that's the kind of conversations that we want to be having. We want to be having those conversations where you guys see something I don't see, let's talk about it, let's try to nail it. We're all on the same team here, and we want to all make money. So that's the great part, and the beauty of this is I'm seeing something maybe you guys don't see, maybe you guys are seeing something I don't see, or you're handicapping a fight a different way, and maybe, hey, I don't see, that's where we want these conversations to be taking, whether we're right, whether we're wrong, want to then understand what maybe I picked wrong? What did I miss? Or what could I have, pushed another way? And then hopefully take that information to the next fight. So some of you guys were nailing some big picks last night. Give you guys credit. And that pick, Ramos, was phenomenal. I mean, he really fought a great fight. I mean, he really looks like he is the next level fighter. And I'm interested to see where he's going to go. I think that he's going to make some waves in that division. I think that, that fight was kind of putting a lot of the UFC on notice there, because they're really, I think that he's an up-and-comer, and he's got a great skill set. You can just see he's an extremely well-rounded fighter. So, again, great pick by you guys on that. And I think that is it for the show. I just wanted to get this out there to you guys. Now, I actually fly out to Orlando, Florida, Tuesday. So what we're going to do, I will get my picks out. I may actually do a short one on somewhere in Florida. I may actually, do a little bit of filming out there as well. But we leave out there. Me and my family are headed out there. We come back Sunday. So we'll actually be out there for the next event. But we will, we'll continue to move along, get out more content. So we'll have our best bet and some more information on you guys. So, hey, keep it locked here. If you have not yet done so, subscribe, like, head kick the bell icon, get involved with Fight Club TV. And this is Mr. UFC Vegas, Fight Club TV.